We'll obviously be talking about that a lot in the next meeting, but I think it is important to mention that obviously we draw on the local climate, the farmhouse style, the identity of Dawson County. That's important for our earth tones, brick, wood, stone, etc. That is consistent with the 400 overlay that we feel like is going to be very important for this project, not just, again, in the buildings, but also within the spaces between. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I needed a breather. So, project impacts. I would be remiss to not discuss these, and I'm sure this might be the most important part of the presentation. We recognize this is a huge development, and it will have a lot of impacts on roads, on our streams and rivers, and so we want to address those concerns. We have spent, like I said, more than almost 2 years looking into these impacts and ensuring we do our due diligence and the best job that we can do to ensure that we minimize these impacts or possibly even somewhat improve some of them. The traffic studies mentioned earlier was done by Calix. John Karnowski is a professional engineer that prepared this traffic study. Wanted to bring up this image here. The traffic as a result of this development isn't local to just one intersection. We looked at 9 separate intersections. There's several along 400 at 136, Harmony Church Road, Grant Road, and Kylo Church Road. We looked at Lumpkin Campground Road and Kylo Church Road. We looked at Highway 53 along it. Looked at Lumpkin Campground Road, Riverview Drive, and Etowah River Road, and finally Etowah River Road at Seatick Road. So this is a more regional study, an impact study. Out of that traffic study, there were recommendations made based off of the layout, the proposed amount of vehicles that would be coming in and leaving and accessing different points along the way. These recommendations include dual left turn lanes on Georgia northbound, 400 northbound onto Lumpkin Campground Road, a signal or roundabout at the project entrance on Lumpkin Campground Road, continuous green T intersection at the proposed entrance on 53, which I'll get into that in a little bit more detail in a minute, and then turn lanes on the Lumpkin Campground Road, or on Lumpkin Campground Road, and 53 was a recommendation. Well, those have actually since been installed. One of the parts of the discussion at the Planning Commission was updating the traffic studies. These traffic studies are they're based off of existing conditions with the expectation of proposed conditions, and sometimes even the traffic volumes we think are going to be generated by these aren't realistic sometimes. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. So what we would propose to update the traffic study during each phase of development, to keep that constantly updated and make sure we're on top of it. The huge feature of this community is the idea of a parkway. The picture on the right shows the parkway to the left and a multi-use trail on the right. That would be part of what this proposal is about. The red line basically connects 400 to Etowah River Road. It's 2.5 miles long, and I guess I had a vision today. If there's a park, the park in the north end, we have a 5K race. You gather there, start the race, run to the end, enjoy some time at the town green at the end of the parkway, and all along we have canopy trees. This is not something we just cut in like a typical subdivision street. This is a well-designed and even incorporate water quality measures and infiltration from the runoff from the parkway as well. This is an opportunity to do all of that. There would have to be a bridge crossing across the Etowah River to accomplish this. That bridge crossing would have to be permitted through the Corps of Engineers, vetted through EPD and U.S. Fish and Wildlife. That permitting process isn't a quick and easy one, so that would have to be done as part of the design. The Corps of Engineers doesn't base decisions off of concept. They want to see an actual design before they make their decisions on that. So without that bridge across the Etowah River, for some reason they deny that, then the property to the north is severely impacted by that. We would obviously not want that as part of this overall development. The environmental impacts, real quick. Etowah River is a jewel. It's an asset to the county. We understand that. We're proposing 100-foot stream buffers along it, and in most cases, the buffers would exceed that. The lots that you see that back up to the Etowah River and the light green are extra deep. The actual the buffers are they account for those increased buffers. The blues look like little lakes all around the development. There's about 20 of them. Those are detention and water quality facilities to treat any kind of runoff before it hits our streams in the Etowah River. And then any disturbance to streams and wetlands will be minimized, but if there is any disturbance needed, that would also have to be applied for and permitted through the Corps of Engineers and mitigated for, which again is part of the same process as the bridge crossing. Key feature to this development is the Clyde Eye, the resort community. A lot of folks see this area in floodplain. There's a lot of floodplain on the property. There's also a lot of floodplain that's not on the property. There's a higher point of the image to the left. It may be hard to see the lots overlaid into that. The gist of it is in where it's not blue is area that's outside the floodplain. That's where the majority of the lots are proposed. That is an image directly straight from from FEMA. It's a flood insurance rate map overlaid with our proposed development. On the right-hand side, just to give a visual of what this looks like, the blue area is obviously the floodplain, and the darker the blue is the depth of the floodplain. The greens are areas that are above the floodplain, but maybe close to it. So it goes anywhere from 1 foot higher than the floodplain up to 10 feet higher. But as you can see, there's a large area that's even more than 10 feet higher than the floodplain. And I think the board, if they so chose, could easily stipulate that the lowest floor of any residence in that area, the minimum is 3 feet. I would say we could up that to 5 feet, because Mother Nature sometimes does what we don't expect. Community benefits. I went over some impacts, benefits of this project. I'd like to go into. There was the traffic study and proposed improvements as part of that by Calix. Bleakley Advisory Group did a market study as well. So go into a few of those details really quick. Basically what this slide is saying is that the value of the project is going to wind up being over $700 million. That's a huge asset to Dawson County in terms of tax. As far as the tax digest, that basically would amount to close to $280 million to the Dawson County as far as digest, and to the schools $270 million. And so what that translates to, if it's completely built out, is to $2.27 million in property taxes that goes straight to the county coffers every year, and $4.25 million that goes to the school district. And keep in mind, this is a project that's proposed that has a little impact on the school system itself. And in addition to that, our school system's only 70 to 75% of capacity. So right now, it's not overburdened, and this would most certainly not overburden the school system. But it does add a lot of benefit in terms of tax revenue. There's a lot of jobs that get created. It's impossible for most folks to read what this slide. But in a nutshell, this, as it's proposed, would produce 1,500 full-time jobs for Dawson County, and most of those would be white-collar jobs. Your doctors, the class of office space would house a lot of those, and as well as inside the continuing care retirement community. 400 jobs would be related to construction of this development. That's this proposed project would take 10 years or so to develop. So that's a lot of jobs for a long period of time here in Dawson County. Almost finished. In terms of additional impact benefits the county, the commission foresaw the need for impact fees and how the benefit of impact fees. Basically, an impact fee is money straight from the developer's pocket to the county. As proposed, the impact fees would amount to over $6 million straight to the county. I broke it down based off the different use. So libraries would get $1.2 million from this development. Parks and Rec, $3.8 million. Fire would get $700,000 in addition to the land for the fire station. And then the road projects would get $400,000 that could be put towards other improvements as things, as issues may come up. So basically, almost to conclude here, this mixed-use village zoning is an opportunity to plan for the future for Dawson County. And it's also beneficial in that you don't have a hodgepodge of different zonings. And the Gates of Etowah, Savannah Trace, and the Meadows communities, they're great, wonderful communities. But if you think about it, each one of them has its own separate access on 53, and every one of them complains about traffic on 53. This mixed-use village helps, resolve that within this community. The Parkway from Etowah River Road to 53, it would alleviate traffic on 53. It from Etowah River through the development to
Everybody be quiet while he's speaking, please.
So that's a huge benefit of being able to master plan a smart development like this. And it provides a variety of housing options. It runs the gamut. So it's not all just one big subdivision. It offers a lot of different options for folks that want to either move from where they're at in Dawson County or move to Dawson County. And it allows empty nesters and seniors to age in place. They don't have to find another place to live far away. They might find their doctors who like them. They don't want to move out. They have their church selected. They don't want to find a different place to move. It all is self-contained. And with that, I conclude. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions of the applicant? Questions of the applicant? Thank you. Okay. I'll open up this hearing, as was the last one. Each person will have 3 minutes. I would also tell you that if someone else has already said what you plan to say, don't use that as part of your 3 minutes. We will cut you off at the 3-minute mark. This time we're going to start with those who are opposed to the application. Those that are opposed to the application. Anyone here speak in opposition to the application? Give us your name and your address, please.
I'm Rod Bischoff, and I'm 186 Park Cove. I live in Dawsonville. I've been a builder and developer for 40 years, and I've seen many projects like this, and I can't tell you how I'm just shocked with the process. I don't know why anybody's here trying to rezone property when they're not going to develop it, they're not going to finance it, there is no money. And what we see in these great presentations, by the way, and I would hire you in a heartbeat, I really would. But a great presentation, beautiful pictures, everything else, but there's no reality. There's no reality to any of this. There are so many problems. I mean, I can't even start to tell you how many problems there are. The traffic study, which I've read, is flawed, inaccurate, and very subjective. There is no place on this plan that deals with the parking issues that they're going to have in that location. And I've developed property in Fulton County, DeKalb County, Gwinnett County, Forsyth County, and all the way up to Blue Ridge. But I try not to develop, I'm out of the business, but I'm well aware, and, you know, I had a really, really good friend a long time ago. His name was Scott Hudgens. He developed Gwinnett Place Mall. He told me, he said, be careful of the projects you get involved in. He said, you know, the good projects come every day. But are they good or are they not? These guys are doing a fabulous job. But not one of them is gonna build a darn thing in this county. Not one of them has any money to build these things. I have friends in the banking and insurance industry, and I've called them about this. Not one of them knows about this project. There's no money. There's no developer. It'll be cut up, it'll be whatever. Once you do this zoning, you open the door to a whole lot of problems. I think it's a great idea, but you need the right people to do it with you. You need the people that can come here and say, this is not a fantasy, this is my project. I'm here to build this for you. That's who you need. And we don't have that. And that's a problem. And I moved up here because I saw the mistakes that were in Gwinnett County. I saw the mistakes in Forsyth. I lived through 1,000 of them in North Fulton. When I got here, I really felt like I had come to a place that respected our lifestyle. And it's important we protect that. Don't promise all the tax dollars you want to promise. They're never going to happen. Okay? We can't support, we don't have
Time's
the
up.
economy.
Time's up.
What?
Your time's up.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in opposition to the application? Come on. James, can you help out there?
My name is Francis Gray. I think most of you have known me anyway. And I live at 5211 Highway 53 East. My home is located, for lack of better words, just east of that little boot on phase 4. And that property is not fit to put anything on because it is too rough, too rugged. My husband and I hunted that property for years, and it was a feat to go in that property and hunt. So I know from this that we're gonna be disturbed by trucks coming in and out, moving the dirt, because it's gonna have to be moved, and a lot of it's gotta be moved. And it just is not gonna be feasibly possible. Not right now. Maybe in the future it would be, but right now, it's not, because that's the only place they've got to put that phase 4, and that looks like where most of the houses are. And if y'all welcome to go down there and walk through it, that is rugged terrain. It's real bad. I know they have excavators and things like that, but it's not gonna happen. And as far as the traffic, I've lived there all my life, and y'all know I have, most of you do. But from the top of Over Hill to the curve below my house where I live, I have scraped many people up off the highway. And it's not funny. And that was a long time ago. It's even worse now. You have to wait 10 minutes to get in the road to come to Dawsonville. I mean, it's impossible. It's just not feasible. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in opposition?
My name's Johnny Burt. I live at 554 Burt's Overlook, and appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I'm really concerned about our county. I love Dawson County, as most all of y'all do. I'm 5th generation Dawson County. I have 4 great-grandsons that are 8th generation. And my concern is their future. We talked about, or Corey did, about the floodplain level. Well, I have in my possession a document from the Department of Natural Resources about the Russell Creek Dam project. We need that dam for the water, but it poses a threat to this because in this, instead of going 8 or 10 feet like you said, a minimum of 62.5 feet. So if anybody like this, sure it is. So. And also, if you turn to the map, the Etowah Village people gave us, Pod I farmed that property, and there are Indian mounds there, and those mounds are protected under federal and state law. And I've got at least 4 of them in my GPS now. And I wonder if the people that are doing this know anything about this, because according to Archbishop, there was an Indian village there way a long time ago, and I know the mounds are there, so most likely on up the river and down the river a little bit there's a bunch of Indian mounds, so they are protected by the federal and state government, so you get into a lot of hassle with that. And that's on the east side of the river where I'm talking about. But the other property, I have no idea about it. But I wish you'd take this into consideration, because it costs these folks a lot of heartache if they get into that and come up with the Indian mounds, or we have a problem with the Russell Creek project. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to him with the Indians phrase in I, they're also in H. I've walked in woods my whole life, run across many of them. Wet springs, all over that land. I mean, there's a wet spring, they have them, these got documented on here that run under 400 all the way to the Etowah River. And that creek does not like to be messed with. They tried to log all that one time, and now there is a 60-foot by 30-foot hole where it washed every bit of it out. So that's gonna be big problems there. 100-foot buffers. All good and well, fine for. I don't wanna hear the stuff though. I don't want to see it. They're not going to want to hear my dogs. My dogs are the first things they're going to want gone because they're pit bulls. They're federal service pit bulls. Not going anywhere. I have farm animals. My brother has farm animals. I'm not going anywhere. And we don't want the crime coming from that into our land. There's going to need to be something other than a 100-foot buffer. I mean, a 100-foot buffer ain't gonna stop it. And supposedly the schools are okay with it. Schools can't handle it. schools can't handle what they got now. I've been trying since my son was in first grade to have him tested. I come up with any and every kind of excuse to, oh, we don't have the funding, we can't do this, we can't do that. Why can't you? That outlaw supposed, every bit of tax dollars from that outlaw goes to education. They have the funding. Police department can't put up with it. This jail ain't gonna hold it. You know, who's gonna pay for the new firehouse to be built? Well, that would be all of us, the tax dollars. Who's gonna man it? Oh, that's us again. You know, who's gonna equip it? Oh, that's all us again. You know, there's so much that is gonna be built and let the county clean up. Look at 453 right now. 17 empty buildings. You want revenue? Fill those buildings. Before you think about bringing something else in, this is gonna sit empty. I mean, there's so much wrong with this. They try to make it look good and stuff, but.
Time is up, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else speak in opposition?
Go ahead.
Come on up.
In the interest of time, I fill this out before me.
There you go.
My name is Dave Hudgens. I am a lifelong resident, and I'm going to elaborate on what Mr. Johnny Burke brought up. My fifth great-grandfather was Solomon Palmer, the first white settler in that valley. He and his brothers set up a trading post, and they built their homes there. They married Cherokee women. I can show you exactly on that map where the village was, where the mounds are, and I know something that they don't know. I know where they buried their dead. I know where the Indian burial ground is. You have not done an archaeological survey, but you want to plow over it. I'm speaking for my ancestors who have no voice. That land is not just a floodplain. It's not just a little area.
Ma'am, speak to the board.
It is historically important. We haven't told people where it was because we don't want people going in and digging up our ancestors to find artifacts. We've kept it quiet. But there are enough older people in my family and in the community of Etowah River where I grew up that know exactly where two different areas where they buried their dead were. This will have an impact on our history, on our culture, on our emotions. If our past is destroyed for houses that are going to be flooded. I live there. Their idea of how much water comes from that river, they've not seen the water that can come from that river. I've seen cows that were swimming because there was nowhere for them to go in the pastures there. That exact area. They had to swim up to where the old chicken houses are. I worked those chicken houses. I know that area. This Pod I is right on federally protected mounds. It is on where they're proposing that road to go over is right through where some of the burial grounds are. And if you want this information, I'll be proud to get the people that exactly can walk you to it to give it to you. But this can't happen. Not only for the sake of our history, but also every elderly person that is in that village is at risk for drowning if they're not able to get out when we have those 10-year floods. It's not funny how much water comes all the way up to Etowah River Road there. It's like a lake. So I am saying absolutely no on this.
Thank you.
I'm Hugh Stowers, Jr. Live at 800 Houston Towers Road. I'm gonna try something here. Up in Lincoln County, it said if you put your mouth on the microphone, you could hear. So, the thing is working. If you put your mouth to the microphone, we can understand what y'all are saying up there.
You're gonna have to back up a little though.
You're too close.
I can hear
That's
it
what I
roaring
wanna
or
do,
something.
right?
I'm the only one that can hear it roaring or something.
No, it's rolling.
We had a governor one time, Lester Maddox, said the unconstitutional was a fish wrapper. This paper's inferior to the fish wrapper. Don't believe this junk on there, all these figures, because it's the most devastating thing that ever hit Dawson County. What the lady's talking about is the Indian mound, the only one in Dawson County. Got down there where they're gonna come through. I can't get the historical society to do anything about it, but it's there. This is not about progress. Not for Dawson County. This is a nightmare for those who are here now. This is about people who want money. They don't care whether you live or die. You gonna put them in the river, play in the river? You think they're gonna get out and use the bathroom in the river? No, they're gonna use it right there in the river. They don't care whether you got a good drink of water or not. People are the most filthy animals on the face of this earth. You put them down there on that river and get that trash and garbage put in there, which is our lifeblood for Dawson County. You know, it ain't gonna cut it. You're gonna wind up passing this just like you did down there for what I thought was a good job on 400 for that medical center. And where those money dried up, oh, that was a Chinese thing, it didn't make it. And nothing gonna happen. The public information meeting in April, the project engineer said the project 10 to 15 years in completion. With our society like it is, as divided as it is, with a possible recession, a major recession coming to this country that we've never heard of, you're gonna wind up on another Gold Creek, another Crystal River. It wouldn't prove it. About the doctors coming here, the hospital's already got 75 acres in Lincoln County. The doctors themselves are looking for places to build a shopping center and build a place to live near that 75 acres. You ain't gonna get none down here. Nothing but smoke screen. Everything you give you is a smoke screen. Okay? These uppity people want a fine place to eat. They got plenty of them south. Go down there.
Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
Good. You give everybody else all the freedom they want, and you destroy the freedom of speech in America. That's what kind of American you are.
Anyone else speak in opposition to the application?
I'm too old to go to jail.
My name's Patrick Urrutia, live at 625 Brights Way, and that's right in the corner of that big box there. Where it says Pod F, that's my street. I walk back in those woods, and the lady that talked about there being springs and everything back there is true. I got pictures of them. I walked back there about a month ago with my daughter. Saw flocks of turkeys. Y'all gonna destroy all that. I love how the other project, you talk about not wanting to develop north of the river to preserve the quality of life. Well, you're gonna piss all over it with this development, because this is upriver. We moved to Dawson County, my wife and I moved to Dawson County 5 years ago. At that time, I was working for a large nursery that supplies Lowe's and Home Depot with plants, bedding plants, house plants. I had 33 stores all over North Georgia, from Carrollton to Rome to Cornelia to Athens, down to Peachtree City. I could have lived anywhere in this state and serviced those 33 stores. I chose Dawsonville for quality of life. When my wife and I moved from South Florida, you want to talk about putting 3 houses on an acre? I came from a neighborhood that had 3 houses on an acre. How many acres y'all live on? You live on 1/3 of an acre? Let me tell you how you can reach out your bathroom window and touch your neighbor's house. We didn't know where we wanted to live when we first moved to Georgia. We lived with my brother in Marietta for 6 months to try to figure it out. And we knew one thing, is we didn't want to live in Marietta. We didn't want to live in Decatur. We didn't want to live in Alpharetta or Sandy Springs with all those conveniences that these guys talk about bringing to this county. Hell, that's why we moved here, to get away from that crap. Another thing that bothers me is not one of y'all, not a single one of you sitting up there had any questions for these people. As big as this development is, not a single question from any of y'all commissioners. That's pathetic. It's either too big for y'all to wrap your heads around, you know, or you just don't get it, or you just don't care. I don't know which is. But I'll tell you what, these people don't care. You live on Elliott Family Parkway, boy, that's a long way from this development. You're not going to be impacted by the traffic and the mess. I own a business in DeKalb County, Georgia, and I serve commissary. I run the commissary for the 6th largest jail in the United States. That's DeKalb County. You admitted that the police don't have enough, you know, they'll be overwhelmed. What he's talking about is crime. That's a nice way to say this is bringing nothing but crime that our police and fire can't handle right now.
Anyone else speak in opposition?
Throw us at people, get up there and talk.
You won't let you talk with a minute or two.
Right here.
We have one before him, we'll let you talk at all.
Remember this election next year.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the commission, my name is Tracy Burnett. I live at 3631 Highway 53 East at Etowah River Road. Nobody has mentioned that Etowah River Road is a road that goes to nowhere. If you recall, several years ago, when it rained, I want to say, I'm not sure, but the 10-year flood, as we're talking about, Etowah River Road fell off in the Etowah River. And I don't think any of you were on the commission at the time, but the commission chose not to put the road back. So Etowah River Road leads, I'm guessing that's northbound, to the actual Etowah River. So there's only one way this cluster of 2.8/3 homes can get out, actually 2 ways, can get out of their subdivision. And that will be to come down Etowah River Road or to go down Seatick Road / North Seatick Road / I think, what is that, 183, 136? But I don't, it's just not, that's too many. We're not ready for this, as each of you know. And that gentleman spoke about our law enforcement, our EMTs. You two are former EMTs. You know we're not ready for this number of people in this county. I am not from Dawson County. My mother is originally from Dawson County. I took my first steps when I was 2 years old here in Dawson County. I am 62 now. I'm retired from the Dawson County school system.
And folks, I think you need to think long and hard, each one of you, because we are not ready for this. We are not, as a county, ready for this development. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the application? Come on up.
Nick Tatum, 608 Kylo Church Road. And I was sitting back there, I had a big speech planned, but it's going to hell right now. 4,300 cars, this one will be on the road once this thing is fully built. And I don't know if you've been to 53 and 400 lately, but it takes an awful long time to go through there. All the stores are still empty, where the old Kroger used to be. KFC is still sitting empty. What's going to happen to all of them? Now, this gentleman over here in the suit talked about the identity of Dawsonville. He has no idea what the identity of Dawsonville is. He doesn't live here. This man says he lives on LA Family Parkway. He should be ashamed of supporting this. Now, I'm a third or fourth generation Tatum that lives here, and I have a son on the way next month. I would just kick myself if I didn't come up here and oppose this. Because I want to leave it for him. I want to leave it for his children. You talk about the green space. There's already 1,000 acres of green space there. It needs to stay there. I better stop before I say something I'll regret.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the request? Give me your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Renee Duran, 2602 Sweetwater Juneau Road. And I would just like to continue on what the very first gentleman said. I don't think this development is going to happen either. And my concern is it's changed so quickly. We were talking about a Chinese garden and focus on, to me it looks like Asian architecture on the bird's eye view that they were showing at the Rotary Club, the picture that was in the paper. Now they're saying it's going to be rustic, and I don't understand. It seems like they don't have a solid plan. My other concern is that the developer, all I can find in his history is a housing development in 1998 in Sugar Hill. And then continuing care retirement center in China. And then he proposed to rezone some property for Asian Village Atlanta in Gwinnett County. And they tabled that indefinitely in the article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Quoted some of the commissioners as being skeptical. I think we should be skeptical too. Thank you.
This is
And the rest of us in opposition are just homeless Southern people trying to make a few less than perfectly worded arguments. And we're emotional. However, if you look around and you look past the government goggles, it's really the other way around. These developers come here tonight asking for permission to change our town. They're acting emotionally with dollar signs in their eyes. They are not looking at the facts of what this growth will do to our town. They don't battle the traffic on Highway 53 every day, and they don't watch the light pollution creep up on their homes. They don't drive our crumbling roads, send their kids to our schools, or call our 911 for help. They have zero clue about the impact that this will be because they are not Dawson residents. Against my better judgment, I hopped on to Focus on Dawson Facebook group to speak with other Dawson residents about the developments that are pouring into our county. I noticed an increasingly aggressive group of people standing up to support the immediate development in Dawson, only to realize that the man calling me rude names because I didn't agree with Dawson being the next shopping destination of Georgia actually lived in Forsyth. And the woman repeatedly posting snarky comments like, run up the mountain if you don't like progress. She actually moved here from Atlanta. So I really hope none of y'all are using any of these threads or posts to gather any opinions, because just know it's not a clear picture of our real opinion. A large majority of the people who want this type of growth are not from Dawson, and a lot of them don't live in Dawson. If they live here, they sure moved here for they moved to the wrong place if they want to live in a metro type city with a lot of entertainment and restaurants. You want entertainment? Go outside. That's what the rest of us do. At the last meeting, the developers touted that this would be convenient living. The convenience of city in the mountains. And that's just a lie. You have to sacrifice one for the other. Do you want the solitude of the mountains or the bustle of the city? You just can't have both. So if you want the city, go to the city, because those who wanted the solitude of the mountains moved where we could do just that. I'm from a county that was irresponsible with their growth. The crime skyrocketed and it ended up being a horrible place to live. I left my childhood home because our neighbors' homes were being robbed while they were home. We didn't feel safe there anymore. I believe you'll end up seeing more citizens stand up against this type of invasive development, because all of us are starting to see the lie of all the growth will remain in the 400 corridor. We all see it. It's creeping in with both the developments that were proposed tonight, the subdivision on 9 South, the apartments on Dawson Forest. All I have to ask you guys is, isn't it the quality of life for the existing citizens that matters?
Go ahead. Speak in opposition to the application.
My name is Anton Temidov, and I live at 204 Windy Hill Drive, just 5 minutes from the proposed development. I work for Fighter Corporation as a senior engineer in the card fraud detection department. I am a scientist. I do data analysis. Let me tell you what I think about this development, which I call for myself as a cancer tumor on our Dawson County. County expenses. This is what needs to be compensated to county by law. Such as building new fire department. The fire truck itself costs $700,000 if it's new, right? Building new, like having new building for it. Also expenses, need to be compensated. Salary for firefighters? I don't know. For the need of the new schools. In this paper, they say that 75% are senior. Well, the original application says different numbers. 350 houses for seniors and 1,500 units without age restrictions, which makes 1,500 families, which is on average 3,000 children of school age. No, I talked to school, Riverview Elementary School principal, Ms. Martin. And she said that her school is actually full. She struggles each year with placing new children, and they keep coming every month because people move in. So he said 75% no, that's not true. The same as for senior relation of senior people to not age restricted. something is wrong here. Doesn't comply with verification, correct? Generally accepted police to civilian ratio is 1 to 450. The proposed Dawson Village will bring about 5,000 people here to live, which will need us to have additional 11 policemen. You think it's too high? Ask our sheriff, Mr. Johnson, what he thinks about it. Dot research shows that SR-53 would not be able to cope with new traffic unless a significant improvement to the stretch of the road is implemented. The new development should not be allowed to use SR-53 until they pay for the road improvements, such as straightening it out and adding new lanes, something that really solves the problem, not just the way to turn to the road. Safety note, already mentioned that that dam places majority of the development in the flood zone, and majority of it actually goes to area dedicated to senior people. Are we knowingly placing them in danger?
Time is up.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the application?
I'm Susan Budson. I live on Front Bush Road, 1512 Front Bush Road, which is after the tail end of Seed Tech. So Etowah turns into Seed Tech turns into Front Bush, and Front Bush obviously runs into Highway 9. At this current time, Front Bush Road is the Audubon. If anybody knows what the Audubon is, it's the cut through. It is actually one of my biggest concerns, but that's more personal actually, is that the growth of the Etowah Village and the subdivision that could happen right there, once we put in those particular homes in that area, we're not only going to have an Audubon, but we're going to have a double Audubon. It becomes a cut through, and a lot of these country roads is just going to be an unsafe zone per se. I think tonight my biggest concern, because most of the citizens have expressed a lot of my concern, is that in 1999 my husband said, let's move up to Dawson County. And we were in Peachtree Corners, Hokenberg area, and I said, Dawson County? He said, yeah, it's a great place. It's up in the country, and we got some land, we got a great deal up there. And I'm like, look, if it's not on the weather map, I'm not going. So, needless to say, it's on the weather map now, in more ways than one. So we did actually moved up to the country for that. It wasn't an easy move, but it was an awesome move. It was a place where I consider a piece of heaven, the community, the love, the compassion, a place where I did raising my children here in Dawson County. I think my biggest concern is the rapid, uncontrolled growth. I understand growth, and people and citizens somewhat we all weren't too happy about the upgoing of Georgia 400 and the restaurants and the stores, but we're definitely keeping them occupied. So controlled growth is exactly what I'm looking forward to, but also to hear the hearts of the people, the land, the heritage, the love, the compassion, and what they're looking for in reference to raising the children and the family and generation to generation thereafter. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else speak in opposition to the application?
Hi, I'm Dwayne Messerschmidt, 101 Reeves Road. Most everybody's already said what I had to say, but my wife works in Alpharetta, and right there by that big mess that they're doing, we've gone into downtown. It all looks the same. We don't want that, right? They talk about the cool fire pit in the town green. That's because Alpharetta don't have trees, right? We don't need that. We don't need to sell out the county for some extra tax money, which we gotta buy extra police cars and people, and it's just not worth it. We moved here from another state 2 years ago. Lived in Beaufort for 6 months. What did we find a gem here? I hate to see it go back to Beaufort or Alpharetta. Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone else? Come on up.
My name is Beth Martin. I live at 586 Brains Way. And my concerns are what everybody else has said. It also concerns me that they did their traffic study in December when it's kind of our off-season. Try driving through there in fall festivals or the spring when the mountains are pretty. Or the summer when everybody's come to go tubing or going up to Helen or whatever. And I mean, it just basically, this is not the reason that I moved here. I moved here to get away from those types of situations where you've got the Avalons and stuff like that. I came from the nature. I'd like it to stay that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speak in opposition to the application? Come on in.
Hey, my name is Dwight Roberts. I live at 76 Riverview Drive. I live near the gates of Etowah. I came here actually kind of neutral on the subject. Came wanting to learn more, to see more. I thought actually it was a plan that if we're going to end up this land being redeveloped, this actually sound more uniform, concise. But after listening and knowing this community, I've been here for a few years, and knowing how many good people are in this community, the people behind me, and how concerned they are, it makes me feel that, you know what, they're probably right. There's something here that's precious. There's something here that shouldn't be bought or sold. You can't remanufacture it. My kids are loved on by this community. So I just want to say that I have decided that I am against this. And I think we should protect what God has given us here and look out for each other like we do. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nick Baggett. I live at 992 Cawthorn Road. You know, I've heard the phrase, putting the cart before the horse. And I think that's what we've got here. I came here with an open mind, wanted to learn about this development. And looking at what was presented on both sides, I have decided that I'm against it at this point. The reason I'm against it is because I don't think we're ready for this. We don't have the infrastructure as far as the roadways. I don't think it's in the best location, especially having to rezone it there on Etowah River and Etowah River Road. It's a fact, and I know that our sheriff is understaffed. We have a piece of gold in Dawson County. And y'all have done, and I think the folks before you have done an excellent job of planning and making some very wise and prudent decisions on where to put development and where to allow things to go and where not to allow things to go. I am not convinced that this particular developer is going to do what they're going to say they're going to do. I know the traffic, I often say Atlanta is here. If you have to drive in the traffic anywhere past 136 going towards Atlanta in the morning or in the afternoon, you have a bottleneck starting where they just put the 3-lane up. And when I say starting there, it goes all the way back typically to 53 at different times. And I know this is, the projection is a senior living and people are gonna stay there and crawl around or roll around or not go anywhere. But they're gonna have people visiting them and they're gonna have people coming and going. You're gonna have shops there. And I'm not against development, but I am for wise development and development that comes at the right time under the right conditions. And that's why I'm against this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speak in opposition to the application? Anyone else? Anyone?
Good evening. My name is Claire David Sharp, and I don't live in Dawson County anymore, but I still love Dawson County. It's one of the few areas that you can have Publix grocery stores and have all that down at 400 and that growth. And then if you go a few miles north, then you have the beautiful countryside, rivers and creeks. There are 3 creeks going through this area where the development is proposed. There's Proctor Creek, Russell Creek, and Palmer Creek. And maybe not in that order, but I know they're there. My family has a considerable amount of property going all the way from Highway 136 up to Lumpkin County, and then south going down through New Bethel Church Road, C-Tick, and then all the way to 53. So obviously we pay taxes on these properties that are in our family. We have 2 conservation developments. One is Fern Park, and then my uncle Doug David has Anderson Creek Retreat in the north part of the county. It actually extends to the Carter Cave area where there's a lake called Anderson Lake. Anyway, that's where my family began. Where they originally lived, up there towards Gilmer County off of 53. No, excuse me, 52, yeah, 52. So I'm just concerned as everybody else as what is going to happen with this property and how much traffic and development and schools and fire stations, whatever it's going to take to have this development actually come to fruition. My father was George David, Lieutenant Colonel Edgar George David Jr. And we moved here in the 1970s, and my father wrote and established the original, there was no zoning here at that time, and he wrote the original plan planning and zoning with the county, and also helped Etowah Water and Sewer Authority to get their company up and going. But I know that Dad, if he were still
Time's up, ma'am.
alive.
Time's up.
Oh, I was just gonna say, he studied Gwinnett County,
Thank you.
and this is the exact opposite of
Thank
what he
you.
wanted. Okay.
Anyone else to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Speak in favor, come on.
My name is Greg Ann Zube. My address is 24 River Overlook Court. My husband and I have lived in Dawson County for 18 years, and we have, as everyone else has, seen a lot of change and growth, bearing both pros and cons. We are in support of the Etowah River Development Project. With the Etowah River Project, we have an understanding of what development will occur regarding a very large tract of land in a prime location. The project is labeled upscale. However, it is a development with the whole of the community in mind. A large park, river access, a walkable community for all to use and enjoy. There is concern regarding increased traffic congestion, and of course, traffic will increase. However, think about things that are currently occurring in Dawson, such as the 55+ communities that are being built off of 2-lane roads. High-density housing with much tighter roadways to serve them than the Etowah River Project. They bring all of us traffic congestion issues that worry me much more than this project. We can either be proactive regarding future development along the 400 corridor in our county, which is coming regardless of how each of us might feel, or watch as the fast food gas stations inch their way north. If we wait and witness the piecemeal development of Highway 400 over the next decade, I think of all of the potential entrances and exits to individual retailers that will find their way on and off of the highway. More access points and traffic lights for sure. The tax revenue this development will ultimately provide our county will be substantial. It will support our children in schools and our infrastructure, which yes, desperately needs it. We need to welcome this for the future of what is so valuable to so many of us, those who have lived here for generations and those who are fortunate enough to have found Dawson County more recently. I hope you will vote in favor of the project and that the project developers, along with the commissioners, will be good stewards of this vision and our land. It is understandable that there are residents who are somewhat distrustful of land developers from the big city coming to our beautiful county with big ideas. But some big ideas can be good ideas. They need just to be implemented with a balance of concern for what is now and caring for what will be. I know that you realize that Dawson County is not Fulton County, but make us all proud and with the knowledge that where we put our trust was well founded. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else speak in favor of the application?
My name is Tony Pascarolo. I live at 180 Sunset Drive in Dawsonville. And Mr. Chairman and committee or council members, I certainly I'm having a great time tonight. Are y'all?
I support the variance with Etowah Village development with certain stipulations that ensure the developmental goals are achieved and that help manage the Dawson County community's risks. Dawson County will experience growth in residential and commercial segments over the next 8 to 10 years. A range of predictions in this forecast are somewhere between 10 and 16%. But if we look at the current data, the actual building permits, rooftops in Dawsonville and Dawson County over the last 3 years, it points to a 12.2% or 2,933 residents that will be moving in. So the emotional reaction that we can stop growth by simply denying all development is naive. It's happening regardless of any action this commission may take tonight. Therefore, stated in many past commissioners' meetings, our goal must be to manage growth. The elements of managed growth are consistent with the efforts of the 2018 comprehensive plan recently completed, approved by this body, and submitted to the state for certification. Part of this project was a county resident survey completed in 2018 that solicited input from the current voter base. As part of the survey, the type, location, and criteria for preferred growth was revealed. The relevant results of that survey show that the majority of respondents, over 72%, preferred the growth in the 400 corridor and around the city of Dawsonville, while preserving the western and northern areas of the county for natural and agricultural pursuits. In addition, a county future land use map exists whose only purpose is to capture the future development roadmap to reflect the where and the what for future development in the county. This plan has been the basis for many past decisions of our county commission. This future land use plan has design zoning for various parcels under discussion tonight. They include commercial highway business, residential agricultural, residential planned community, commercial planned community development, and commercial office institution. So I ask that you consider the alternatives if this developer withdraws and there is no Etowah Valley. Let's assume that each of these properties were developed individually over the same period of time. There would be no zoning and planning hearings. It's not required. In this hypothetical scenario, there would be no required county or...
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
Time's up.
thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
Hello, I'm Betty Collins, and I live at 791 Nightfire Drive. Back in 2017, a group of Dawson County residents formed the North Georgia Conservation Coalition. I'm a member of that coalition, as are many of the other people behind me. We all love the beauty of North Georgia, and we love Dawsonville and Dawson County. But change is coming. More and more people will move this way, and it is very important that we plan for that population to move to the Dawson County area and to North Georgia. The mission of our coalition is to help to inform residents on ways to preserve our beautiful forests and farmlands so that by way of conserving land, air quality, water, and energy. Planned development is the way to do that. And that's why we feel that the Etowah Village development is a good thing for Dawson County. We want to preserve the beauty of the county and of North Georgia. We have seen Georgia 400 over the last 30 years when Alpharetta was just a little country town, and then it moved to Cumming, and Cumming was a little country town, and then Forsyth was just all woods and farmland, and now it's all covered in subdivisions with 1 acre lots and lots of commercial buildings. We don't want that to happen here. And so what we should do or must do instead is plan development such as Etowah. If we take the housing in Etowah, the 1,500 housing units, and spread them around Dawson County, we're going to plow down all our forests and our farmland.
Same thing with the commercial. If we're gonna spread it out all over, we're going to plow down the forest and the farmland. We want to preserve that. By building in this way, we will use less land because the buildings are done in clusters, therefore less roads will be built. The retail stores will have homes above them, which also saves on land. Hopefully these will be energy efficient homes. And by having retail in the development, we'll have people that will be able to walk to their restaurants and to shops. We'll be saving energy and by not driving so many cars. And then therefore we will be creating better air quality. We'll have smaller yards, conserving water. So this kind of development will help us reach the goal of preserving the beauty of Dawson County by conserving land, air quality, water, and energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the unless you're going to speak in favor of the application? This is the hearing part. Anyone here to speak in favor of the application?
Good evening, gentlemen. I would like to speak in favor of the project here.
What's your name and address?
My name's Mike Garcia, and I live on 221 Windy Hill Drive. And a little history of myself, because I did move here in '96 from Alpharetta. I had an erosion control company, so my heart bleeds for the people that want to not change as we get older. But I believe that this project is tastefully done. I believe that it's growth, it's coincident, it's with the growth of the 400 corridor. We are often, the county are generous developers here, are sharing their dream with our county to bring us parks, bring us a hotel, bring us a conference center, everything our county needs. We thrive on tourism. Where do our tourists stay? We have parties for Christmas. Where do our people stay? We have nowhere for them. A river park would be great for the children. There's nowhere for children to go play, whether it's a sports academy or a sports park. So I think that this here is something that the county definitely needs, and it goes perfectly with the growth of 400. So I want to thank you guys for bringing your dream. Shit.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor of the application? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Ken Karash. I live at 892 Chester Key Circle. Been there since 1991. So a long time, not my entire life, about that. This just looks like a good project. The development is coming north. I knew when I moved here in 1991 that this would happen. I didn't know when, but it's come, and we can't let it pass us by. We have the opportunity to make wise decisions with this acreage. If we choose not to make those decisions at this point, good developers and good developments like this proposed one won't come back. So, I realize that there are a lot of people here that don't like this idea, would like to see it squashed, but it just really makes good sense to me. And everything everybody in favor of it said before me. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Randy Wells, 10 Laurel Trail North, here in Dawsonville. First thing is I have a statement from Mr. Warren King.
friend of ours. He's a Dawson County resident who could not attend here tonight for health reasons. What Mr. King did was we were looking at similarities between the proposed Etowah Village project and Avalon, which has been expressed here as a quasi-type project, and the effects on the real estate values. So what Mr. King did was, in direct conversations with agents and a limited survey of agents who worked in the Avalon area, the Alpharetta area, finding out how Avalon affected both residential and commercial property values. In general, the conclusions he reached were as follows. All who responded said that Avalon added value to both the residential and commercial property in that area. Yearly increases in residential property values were estimated to range from about +2 to about +7% since Avalon was opened. The geographic range of the value increases were estimated to be up to about 10 miles around the Avalon project. Responses also focused on the destination value of Avalon with restaurants, shopping, living space, hotels, and family activities. Also, they were sure that the proximity, in their case of Avalon to Highway 400, was also a major factor in Avalon's success. So looking at all those statistics about the potential for this project to increase our residential property values as well as commercial property values, Mr. King is in favor of the project. Me personally, I'm an 18-year resident of Dawson County, moving here from Cobb County in 2000. At the time, we had the outlet malls, we had Ingalls, we had the old Krogers, and that was the only major commercial development along Georgia 400. At that time also, the site of the future Etowah Village was already zoned commercial. If I remember right, it was the site of the future Southern Catholic College. And we all know that that project did not go along. I knew growth would eventually come to Dawson County, and specifically the Georgia 400 corridor. I knew that when I moved here in 2000. So in summary, growth is inevitable and is part of the expansion in the overall Atlanta area. I want growth that is high quality, smart, controlled, and will enhance Dawson County in the future. I believe this project will do just that. Thank you very much.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Come on up.
I'm Arthur Young from Norcross, Georgia. I am a property owner adjacent from this project, and I approve or in favor of it. I've been involved in Dawsonville for about 20 years. I had a business in Dawsonville for 10, and I was a member of the Dawsonville Chamber of Commerce for the whole time. And our plan is to take that business that we had and bring it very successfully and move it into this spot that's adjacent to this property. So basically, as a property owner close to the project, I want you to know that I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone else?
Turn waves off.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm Dr. Larry Anderson, 108 Mildred Elliott Road. I'm going to speak from the standpoint of medical care for the community. Medicine is like a lot of businesses. It is population driven. You don't have people coming to your store, to your business. If you don't have a store, you don't have a business. When you think back about 40 years ago, what we had was Dr. Bierman. I don't think there were any other doctors. Excellent physician, extremely served this county well, but as he attracted more physicians, then more medical care became available in this county, and people did not have to drive as far away as what they used to.
And so what we see now is subspecialists coming in for like medical care that normally you would have to drive out of county to go see. Most are not here full-time, most are here half a day, 2 days, but all of them have a critical point where they have to have so many patients that come out of a percentage of a population pool in order for them to survive. I'm going to take neurology as an example because we have no neurologist here, we have no endocrinologist here, we have no rheumatologist here. Neurologists, in order for them to see what they're supposed to see, what they're highly trained to see, has to have a population base of about 100,000 patients, or not patients, but a population pool to pool. Majority of primary care takes care of 80 to 90% of all neurological problems that come in. That leaves a small 10% that get referred out to the neurologist. There are no neurologists north of Okay, I probably need to see one. Thank you, Mr. Heston. Okay, so I think this would make a little sense if the neurologist had to have, say, 20, and we only had 15. He's not going to come until we have the other 5. If we use something like this continuous care memory unit, that's the other 5. So we will not be getting a neurologist just to serve that 5 there. It's to serve the other 15 that we couldn't get served until we had a tipping point. But that has to do with specialists across the board. Dermatologists, we didn't get one until a year and a half ago. Now we have 2 dermatology groups in this county. And so all the specialists are improving. What we don't have is ancillary services. We have a lot of emphysema and COPD, but we have no pulmonary rehab.
How's that?
I'll review that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, I'll close the hearing. Now, again, everybody maintain some order. Thank you. Now, a lot of information provided tonight on both sides, both positive, for, and negative, against. I too can see positive and negative in this particular development. As I stated before, when you look at the portion, I'll just say east of the river towards 400, majority of that property is currently zoned to where most of the pods that they're requesting in that particular area could be done without the approval of this board. Pods A, B, C, D, E, and F. That could be done now based on the current zone. Now, we made an application, obviously, of mixed use, which kind of draws all that together. Now, on the negative side of this thing, I can see across the river, over on the Etowah River side, the negatives of this development, where you have floodplain issues, which is going to require a floodplain analysis if that was to be developed. It would require a bridge, which may or may not get approved by the Corps of Engineers, and EPD with all the stipulations. Because you have an endangered species that goes up and down the Etowah River, that all has to be taken into consideration. And it is the piece, in my opinion, that is most outside of the zoning or the current land use plan or the future land use plan. Now, obviously, that's a lot to think about. When you look at the vast complexity of a project such as this. And I appreciate everybody who's come tonight, and I appreciate everything that everybody has said, whether you were for or whether you were against. And I'm gonna make a recommendation to my colleagues that sit on this board, being as they've heard a whole lot of stuff tonight. My recommendation to you would be to table this for 30 days so that you'll have the opportunity to digest everything that you've heard. You've heard everything from Indian mounds being on the western piece of this property as I look at it, and that would be a concern. I think that's something that needs to be evaluated. But on the positive side of this thing as well, as has been stated, something's going to get built on 400. Whether we like it or not, something's going to get built on 400. So it needs to be something that's managed, something that's productive, something that is what people would be proud of. So that's kind of our job, try to manage growth, try to make sure that what comes does fit in with the lifestyle that we want for Dawson County. As many of you have stated, you've been here a long time. Well, I've been here my whole life as well. So it's important to me as I look at everything that comes before this board in the decision-making capacity that it be something other that in the long run becomes positive. Now when I look at this, I look at the opportunity for us to enhance the 400 corridor. And I also look at it as an opportunity to protect some of the natural beauty, especially on the western portion of this piece. So there are lots of things to consider, a lot of options that could be brought forth here in reference to this development and the type of development that's being proposed. It's not something that I take lightly. It's not something that I'm willing to rush into a vote on. So I would make a recommendation to you, my fellow commissioners, that we table this for 30 days so that you can digest all the notes that you've taken, and you have done an excellent job of note taking. You wore out some pencils and you wore out some paper. We killed a few trees in the process. So I would recommend to you the tabling of this for 30 days for you to have your due diligent time, which I think is necessary for you to make an informed decision on something of this complexity.
I mean, for me, I would echo that. I think everybody that's had an opportunity to speak tonight has, on both sides of the coin, you all deserve us to be able to look into it at a deep level and not be rushed to a decision. This is a big project. It impacts a lot of different facets of the community, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. I want to make sure we're getting it right, whether we're going to go down one direction and not approve it, or whether we go down another direction and approve it. I'm a guy that does my due diligence, and I want to make sure that we are looking at all the different moving pieces of this thing to make sure that we ultimately are making a decision that we feel is a feedback and reflection of the community that's looking at us and what's best for the future of Dawson County. So I would agree that I would make a motion to table it until for 30 days to give us time to digest it, to ask more questions of people.
Motion for Commissioner Gaines to table for 30 days. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion.
Could I make another comment?
Yes, ma'am.
To the gentleman, I don't know if he's still here, who spoke very passionately. I think he said he was from Florida, lived here 5 years, and kind of chided us for not asking questions. And you have no idea how long this has been going on and how many questions we have asked. So please don't think that what we have heard tonight is all we have heard. And I take this so seriously, and I know there's some people out here that love Dawson County as much as I do, but you can't love it more than I do. I've been here 68 years, and I'm just 68. After sitting here, I know I'm yeah, I'm only 43, and this is what it's done. But seriously, I mean, we take this so seriously, and I live here, I intend to die here. I do not want this county ruined, or, you know, every how you look at it, you know, we've all got different opinions, and we want to get this right. But please don't think when we walk out here that this is all we've done, that this is all we've heard. So I don't know if the gentleman's here, but I just wanted to kind of correct that, because I think we got really chided for that.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna echo that too. I mean, we've had a lot of questions and talked to a lot of people, and we heard something new tonight we hadn't heard, and that's one reason I agree with the chairman and the rest of the board members. You know, we're not gonna shoot off the hip with decision. I had 41 years of my career, I didn't shoot off the hip. I took facts, I took best practices, I took training, and that's how I made my decisions. And we're gonna look at everything, like I said, the pros and the cons. We take it very seriously. I think everybody up here wrote about 5 or 6 pages of notes.
It's more than that.
Yeah, some of us wrote. But we are gonna look at it and look at, like I said, this stuff that brought up tonight that I've heard for the first time. So we're gonna look into it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. So, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second to table for 30 days. Hearing no further discussion, please vote. And that is tabled for 30 days, 4-0. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we will resume the meeting.